On News Hour tonight, 15 killed in fresh mango attacks. President Tinubu invites Wike to join the APC. Harm natives in Kaduna demand Nok heritage protection. On the foreign scene, 1,500 activists moved to break Gaza blockade. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. At least 15 persons were reportedly killed in separate attacks on villages in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. The chairman of Mangu local government area, Emmanuel Bala, who disclosed this to journalists, stated that 7 people were killed in Boa district, while the latest incident occurred in Chinchim community under Mangu district, where 8 persons were killed on Tuesday night. Reports say the latest incident occurred around 8 in the evening on Tuesday, when gunmen stormed the area, killing at least 8 persons. Meanwhile, the Hadar community in Mangu has denied the allegation, describing the allegation as unfounded. Abubakar Garba, secretary of Gan Allah Fulani Development Association of Nigeria, GAFDAN, who denied the allegation, called on security officials to fish out the perpetrators of the act. Joining us via phone is Daily Trust reporter Ado Musa. Hello, Ado. Welcome to News Hour. What can you tell us? What can you tell us on the general overview of the recent attacks in Mangu local government area? What happened? How it happened, and who are the victims?
There has been accusation and counter-accusation between farming and herding communities, particularly in Mangu local government area. So in Mangu, we have Magavul, who are predominantly farmers, and then we also have Fulani, who are predominantly herders. So it is believed that the problem is between the Magavul and the Fulani communities, because they do accuse each other of any atrocity committed against their members. So prior to this attack, that is Tuesday's night attack, there were also several attacks in different communities within Mangu local government area, where if maybe a community predominantly or rather dominated by herders, once it's attacked, you see that tomorrow the herders will come out and say, okay, we have been attacked by Magavul. So the same thing, if Magavul community is attacked, they also come out to also accuse Fulani of launching the attack. So the same thing with what happened yesterday. After the attack, the chairman of Mangu local government area also accused the Fulani community of launching the attack. So the violence is between the two groups within Mangu local government general area.
Well, if the chairman of the local government is already pointing accusing figures on the Fulani community, what is the security or are the security agencies or our witnesses telling you with respect to these suspected attackers?
Well, we try all we could to get the reaction of either the police or the Operation Safe Haven, a multi-security task force maintaining peace in the state. That is to get their reaction, but we are yet to hear anything from them. I make several calls. They have not responded. I also send text messages. They have not also responded. So up to this moment, neither the Operation Safe Haven nor the police command has said anything regarding the current development. However, the Fulani community under the umbrella of Gan Allah Fulani Development Association have also denied the allegation.
What would you say now is the situation on ground in terms of security, humanitarian needs, and community reactions?
Well, at the moment, according to residents in the area, they said they have done mass burial for those who have lost their lives in the attack. I also learned that there has been mass deployment of security personnel in the area to ensure there is no further breakdown of law and order. I equally learned that the State Commissioner of Police has also visited Mangu town to also see for himself what has happened. I also learned that he had meeting with traditional and religious leaders to see how they can bring an end to these incessant attacks and counter-attacks between the two groups.
I'm glad you said incessant counter-attacks and attacks. So what would you say is exactly the background or the underlying tensions that are driving this violence? And what are the chances of a lasting peace, if you like, in that area?
Well, the Magabul will always say that the Fulani, or rather the Hadin community or the Fulani in general, are land grabbers. So they are not from Mangu, therefore they don't want to see them because they believe that according to them, once they are there, they destroy their farms, they destroy their crops, and they still ask how they were able to even find themselves in the communities where they are occupying at the moment. And at the same time, the Fulani also community are also claiming that they belong to the land. They are not settlers because most of them will tell you that other people also meet them there. So the Magabul community are saying that the Fulanis are land grabbers because they have grabbed their land. And on the other hand, the Fulani community are also saying that no, they are not land grabbers. They also accuse the Magabul of rustling their cows all the time. So the security agencies have done all they could. I could remember they had several meetings to see how they can bring the two parties together. But one thing they always say is this, that if the people do not agree to live together in harmony, there's no way security agencies that they will bring peace in the area. They say no matter the amount of personnel they deploy to any community, so long as the people don't agree to live together, they will continue to experience what they are seeing today.
So what you're saying now is that it's the need for the two communities to come and dialogue and find a way forward.
Yes, not only the dialogue, but to have a kind of sincerity of purpose. Because most of the times, when the security agencies have a kind of meeting or dialogue, that is what they usually emphasize on. They say it is not all about bringing you together. It is not even about maybe having a dialogue, but it is about you agree and I agree that we must live together in harmony. And once there's no that sincerity of purpose, they will continue to have this problem. And that is the problem that these communities are facing at the moment. Because I could remember during every meeting, during every dialogue, everybody will stand up and say, okay, we are forgiving, we agree to live in peace with one another, but tomorrow we hear another attack. So this will tell you that there is no sincerity of purpose between the two parties.
Ado Musa, thank you so much for this deep perspective of this crisis.
Thank you for having me.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has described the planned opposition coalition aimed at unseating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 general election as a futile effort. Speaking on Wednesday during the commissioning of Atira Road N16, named Shehu Shagari Way, from Ring Road 1 to Atira Road N20, Wole Soyinka Way in Abuja, Wike said the performance of the Tinubu-led administration will render any coalition attempt ineffective. Wike's comment comes amid reports of ongoing discussions among key opposition figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Labour Party's Peter Obi, to form a united front ahead of 2027 general elections. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who also attended the event and commissioned the roads, lauded Wike for his contributions to infrastructure development in the FCT and extended an open invitation to him to join the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. President Tinubu said the completed road projects underscore his administration's commitment to urban renewal, infrastructure expansion, and national transformation, guided by a vision of reform and regeneration.
I was thinking that truly there will be coalition. So when they see what's happening every day, and I told my people, make sure that every national television must hook in. So if they turn to DBN, they are watching Mr. President. If they turn to TVC, it's Mr. President. If they go to channel, Mr. President. If you go to NTA, Mr. President. Even the one I don't watch Arise, Mr. President. They have no choice. And they must watch it for 17 days.
We thank the Minister FCT2 for relocating your community with peace and good compensation. We have somebody in News and Weekend. He's not a member of my party. Not yet.
Not yet.
But the day he changes his mind and registered with Progressive, we will welcome him. Because we will enjoy him in singing.
Former Minister of Transportation and former Governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, has expressed readiness to join forces with other political stakeholders to form a united opposition alliance aimed at challenging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. Amechi, a senior member of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, made the declaration in an interview with the BBC. He cited worsening economic conditions and national insecurity as major reasons for his decision. The former minister emphasized the need for honest assessment of the government's performance, stressing that party membership should not prevent constructive criticism. He noted that while he remains a member of the APC, the current state of the nation requires political leaders to prioritize the interests of the people over party loyalty. Amechi highlighted the increasing levels of hunger and poverty in the country, pointing out that the visible impact on citizens and himself is manifestly clear, and warned that the economic situation has become dire. According to a report by the Transition Monitoring Group, with the 2023 general election cycle as a focal point, it appears that Nigerians are increasingly disengaging from the voting process, leading to a rise in voter apathy. As the nation commemorates the June 12, 1993 general elections, widely regarded as Nigeria's most credible and fairest election to date, and with the 2027 general election and various off-cycle elections approaching, Trust TV's Noel Sampson speaks with civil society organizations and political scientists to assess the credibility of Nigeria's elections since 1999. The report.
Despite several reforms implemented by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over the past 24 years of democracy, there remains a widespread lack of trust in Nigeria's electoral process, with many Nigerians continuing to reference the 1993 elections with nostalgia, citing them as the freest and fairest polls in the country's history. This begs the question, how credible have Nigerian elections been since the return to democracy in 1999?
Nigerian election has been a major issue of concern because Nigerians have been agitating and yearning for free, fair, and credible election. Nigerians have been agitating for improved electoral process that will, ensure that there's a better election in Nigeria. So Nigerians have been agitating for an improved electoral process that will usher us good governance.
I know it's difficult for citizens on the street to see that improvement because it's not translating to improvement in their daily lives. But as an insider, I would like to say that we have really seen a lot of reforms. The last electoral electoral act the current one that we're using has tremendous reforms. It's really changed the way that we conduct elections.
Recently, that we had our some electoral reforms, were introduction of technology like what's it called, beavers, and this permanent voters card was introduced, and also issue of inclusion of persons with disability, where the introduction of brave ballot papers and some accessible voting centers were also introduced. If you look at all those parameters put together, we say, oh, Nigeria has actually improved. We are trying to grow.
Despite some notable achievements in improving the credibility of elections in Nigeria, there are still significant challenges to be addressed, as stakeholders outline several ways to further enhance the electoral process.
We need to mobilize citizens to be active citizens. We need to make sure that there's accountability in place, and we need to make sure that issues are discussed and should be the basis of campaigning. These are the only way you can actually restore Nigerians confidence on the ability of our electoral process to deliver good governance.
Now we have bills, we have acts, we have positions that are before the National Assemblies for certain changes that we have seen from conducting the 2023 elections that need to come in.
The fact that Nigerians are losing trust in the institution, INEC here, it's also an issue of great concern. Now, if we are talking about credibility, we cannot leave that out of the conversation. And because of that, I think it creates a kind of gory image of what an ideal electoral umpire should look like for Nigerians. And if you study how Nigeria has been turning out for elections since 1999, let me put it that way, you see that there has been some incidents of voter apathy that have been recorded over time. And if you want to look at what causes this voter apathy, you realize that it's also as a result of the mistrust.
Since credible elections are defined by inclusiveness, transparency, accountability, and competitiveness, it is therefore essential that all stakeholders collaborate to ensure that the independent choices of citizens remain the central determining factor in Nigeria's democratic process. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Sole Administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has presented the state's 1.48 trillion naira 2025 budget to the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Rivers State Oversight. The proposed fiscal plan aims to tackle infrastructure decay, expand social services, and stabilize the region amid the ongoing state of emergency. The report.
It was a significant moment at the National Assembly as retired Vice Admiral Ibas Ete Ibas laid out his administration's 1.48 trillion naira proposal for the 2025 fiscal year. Appointed under emergency powers by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Ibas says the budget is a roadmap to rebuild Rivers State and heal long-standing infrastructural and economic wounds.
The total revenue projected for the 2025 fiscal year is 1.4 trillion naira. As of May 2025, total revenue inflows were 597.14 billion naira, which is only about 4% less than our projection. The total expenditure planned for 2025 is 1.48 trillion naira.
The spending plan includes 324.5 billion naira for infrastructure, 55 billion naira for revamping the state teaching hospital, 30 billion naira for education, and 117 billion naira dedicated to pensions and benefits. Also earmarked are funding for food security, agricultural reforms, and empowerment programs targeting youth and women.
The budget commits over 117 billion to pensions, gratuities, and employee benefits, marking a decisive shift towards restoring dignity and welfare in the civil service. This includes a 50 billion naira provision to begin to address the long-standing issues around pensions and gratuity arrears owed to retirees in Rivers State.
Chairman of the ad hoc committee, Julius Ihovere, welcomed the proposal but made it clear that oversight will not be compromised.
I want to assure you, in as much as we are committed to joining hands with you to ensure that Rivers gets back on track, we are not going to cut corners. We are going to do the job as we would normally do it for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That way we will be helping you, we'll be helping ourselves, and we'll be helping the country. So I noticed some of the areas you've touched on, particularly women empowerment. I think that is very important.
Youth empowerment.
And pensioners.
The budget now moves to committee review, where lawmakers will analyze allocations and verify compliance with federal oversight mandates. If approved, it could mark a major step in stabilizing governance and public service in Rivers State.
From the legislature to the judiciary, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has struck out two motions filed by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and awarded costs of 100,000 naira against him. A three-member panel of the appellate court, presided over by Justice Hamman Barka, struck out the motions following the request for withdrawal of the appeal by Akpabio. The motions listed Akpabio as the appellant. The respondents were Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Clerk of the National Assembly. Others are the 10th Senate of the National Assembly and the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Senator Neda Imaswen. In the appeal, Akpabio, among other things, sought an order of the court to enlarge the time within which the appellant and the applicant may seek leave to appeal against the decision of the Federal High Court, Abuja, in the suit between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan versus the Clerk of the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and three others, delivered on March 10, 2025 on grounds of mixed law and fact as contained in the proposed notice of appeal. The appellate court further held that the cost of 100,000 naira was awarded to Senator Natasha and the appeal was dismissed. The Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has destroyed 2 cannabis farms in the state. The state NDLEA commander, Michelle Ofoyeju, disclosed this in Benin City while briefing journalists on the command's achievements in the month of May. He said the 2 farms were discovered in the Ozeba and Ohosu forests spread across Owan West and Ovia Southeast local government areas of the state. Commander Michel noted that the negative impact of drug trafficking on local economy, investment opportunities, and escalating costs to law enforcement and healthcare systems will be drastically minimized through the adoption of proactive drug control strategies. According to him, the agency has taken the war against drug abuse campaign to young adults and adolescents in schools, churches, and mosques. A drama ensured at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos this Wednesday after the former governor of Edo State and a serving senator, Senator Adams Oshomole, allegedly ordered the closure of the Zulu terminal at the General Aviation Terminal of the airport after he arrived late for his flight to Abuja. A video that has now gone viral shows the senator representing Edo North exchanging words with airport staff. According to eyewitnesses, the incident occurred around 10 minutes after 6 in the morning when Senator Oshomole arrived at the terminal to catch a flight to Abuja, scheduled to depart at 6:30 a.m. However, the boarding process was said to have already been closed and the flight departed as scheduled. It is alleged that upon being told that he had missed his flight, Senator Oshomole became aggressive and engaged the airline staff in a heated argument. He is said to have blocked the terminal entrance, preventing other passengers from accessing the departure hall, and the airport staff alleged that the senator wanted the aircraft to be delayed for him, but the airline operator declined. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, are yet to react to the incident.
No, that's what they are saying, that it's overbooked. That's right. Why the answer?
Two people have been confirmed injured in a tanker explosion on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The tanker laden with a petroleum product exploded after it fell at the NASFAT axis of the expressway on Wednesday, leading to traffic congestion. The public relations officer of the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Agency, Babatunde Akimbi, who disclosed this, said the injured were taken to the Olabisi Onabanjo Teaching Hospital, Shagamu. It was also gathered that the explosion affected 6 vehicles, including 4 trucks, 1 bus, and 1 Toyota Camry. The Ogun State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps also confirmed the explosion. The education officer of the Sector Command, Florence Okbe, said a rescue team from the FRSC and the fire service were on ground. President Bola Tinubu has cancelled his planned national broadcast for Nigeria's 26th Democracy Day celebration and will instead deliver his address from a special joint session of the National Assembly on Thursday. According to a statement by the Director of Information and Public Relations, Segun Omohiosin, the shift is due to the president's scheduled appearance before lawmakers. Meanwhile, the traditional Democracy Day military parade has also been cancelled, though no reason was given. Other events, including a public lecture themed consolidating on the gains of Nigeria's democracy, necessity of enduring reforms, will proceed as scheduled. The public lecture will be held at the State House Conference Center at 4 in the evening and will be covered by accredited State House correspondents only. This is News Hour coming to you on Trust TV. Up ahead, Ham natives call for preservation of ancient Nok artifacts as heritage faces growing risk. We have more news for you when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You are still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our earlier reports. We told you that 15 persons were killed in yet again the Mangu attack, and we also told you that excuse me, let me yes, we told you that the Ham natives call for preservation of ancient Nok artifacts as heritage faces growing risk. And we also told you that, well, we will now move on to other stories. A group of concerned elders and stakeholders in Bauchi State have argued that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu still has a lot of work to do in making Nigeria a better place for all citizens, especially when compared with other nations of the world. They expressed their views while assessing the performance of the government over its 2 years in office, noting that the administration has faced numerous challenges. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has the report.
Despite over 26 years of uninterrupted democratic governance in Nigeria, many ordinary citizens are still hoping to feel the impact of representative government, especially with country's current economic situation. To this end, some Nigerians have spoken on a range of issues, emphasizing that unless the government acknowledges the widespread dissatisfaction among the populace, progress will remain elusive. Many believe the country has not lived up to the promise of democracy since its return in 1999.
What we are saying is that the government is shooting itself in the foot, particularly the president himself. You know, when you have a large country like Nigeria that is multi-ethnic and multi-religious in nature, you must make sure that you reflect that in your appointment, you reflect that in the distribution of resources, you reflect that in the implementation of policies of your administration. This is not happening in this government.
If that project has been completed, it ought to have been completed over 30 years ago. But the successive government, for reasons best known to them, they have not paid attention to it, and it has now been abandoned. If it has been completed, there will be over 3,000 megawatts of electricity that will be generated from that place.
Plateau and Benue were a bit calm at that time, but now again the issue is coming up. So we have three new different problems we are facing in terms of security here in Nigeria under this administration. So the worrisome people want administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to actually address this issue in the next 2 years if it wants to.
These Nigerians stress the importance of citizens being more strategic and focused when electing leaders at all levels of governance. They call on Nigerians to prioritize competence and integrity over party affiliations for the collective good of the nation. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, says it has treated more than 15 acute psychiatric patients and 3 miscarriage cases, among others, in the just concluded Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. Head of NACON medical team, Sani Garba, disclosed this during the post-Hajj review meeting in Mecca on Tuesday. Garba noted that the greatest challenge faced by his team was the access to antipsychotic drugs in Saudi Arabia. Garba said they came across patients with family psychiatric threats who couldn't access their prescribed drugs and were not allowed to bring them into the Holy Land. He revealed that the commission also recorded at least 4 pregnancy and pregnancy-related cases during the spiritual journey. Garba further explained that his team rendered services under 4 major departments, namely consultation, emergency, reference services, infection, and prevention under public education. The Obalohun of Okoloke, Oba James Dada Ogweanda Elufemi Leoye, has been released after spending 28 days in captivity. The 94-year-old traditional ruler was kidnapped from his palace in Okoloke, Yagba West, local government area of Kogi State, by armed men suspected to be bandits on May 15, 2025. His abductors initially demanded a ransom of 100 million naira, but later reduced it to 50 million naira after negotiations. However, reports indicate that his eventual release was due to intensified security operations rather than ransom payment. According to community sources, the monarch was freed around midday on Tuesday, June 11th, following a joint operation by security forces, local vigilantes, and hunters along the Okoloke-Isandu-Esa axis near the Kogi-Kwara border. The chairman of Yagba West local government area, Tosin Olodun, confirmed the development and praised the collaborative efforts of the security agencies. As at press time, the Kogi State government and the State Police Command were yet to issue an official statement. Minister of State for Defense Bello Mutawalle has assured that troops will flush out the bandits in the northwest zone to pave the way for farmers to go about their farming during this year's rainy season. He gave the assurance while fielding questions from journalists at his country home, Maradun, the headquarters of Maradun local government area of Zamfara State, after a meeting with APC members. The report.
Assessing farmlands is a big deal for farmers in Zamfara and other northern states due to the payment of levies to bandits to allow them to engage in farming and harvesting farm produce. Farmers have been grappling with this challenge for years. With the 2025 rainy season here, some farmers revealed that they had paid 50 million naira in levies to bandits to allow them to access their farms in Zamfara State. To address this, the federal government, through the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, is assuring the troops will flush out the bandits to enable farmers to engage in farming so that there can be a bumper harvest this year.
We have a good plan, and I assure you that people will go back to their farm. They will farm this year. We have procured a lot of equipment. The president has supported the military, as I mentioned, that the government is doing everything to ensure that the people will go back to their farm this year. As I said, we know the arrangement that we are doing, and the president even approved for the procurement of higher caliber, of higher tech equipment for the military.
He also disclosed that the federal government has acquired new war hardware for the troops to enhance their ongoing onslaught against criminals to restore peace and normalcy in the country.
The president has given the security all what he wants. So we have no excuse. The security have no excuse to complain, because all what they want this president has already given to them. I've been going around the world, going around for so many countries, particularly those that are developing the higher technology reforms.
The defense minister said the President Tinubu-led administration is poised to improve the socio-economic development in the north, especially in the northwest zone, adding this prompted the initiation and execution of numerous road projects such as the Zaria-Funtua, Gusau-Sokoto ongoing dualization, as well as Ilela in Sokoto State to Lagos.
To culture now, the preservation and protection of Nok artifacts and culture play a vital role in promoting rich heritage of the Nok civilization and is documenting its history for future generations. This has become increasingly important as modern influences continue to erode traditional values and cultural identity. Some natives of Ham land who are passionate about preserving the heritage of the Ham people have noted that many of these artifacts date back several centuries, as Trust TV's Bello Musa now reports.
The Nok culture, which dates back to around 1500 BC to 200 AD, is regarded as one of the earliest non-civilizations in the region that is now northern Nigeria. It is particularly renowned for its life-size terracotta sculptures, often depicting human figures and animals in intricate detail.
These are artifacts of importance. They are priceless articles, and you can't find them anywhere. These artifacts are dear to us. And what you're seeing right behind me are those ones that have been passed down by custodians of different clans, and some were dug, excavated from the ground, but some were directly passed down, and they have their significance as it is. But in essence and in generality, these artifacts are way older than 2,500 years, each of them that you're seeing.
The Nok artifacts, especially the terracotta figures, are believed to represent various aspects of Nok life, from spiritual beliefs and funerary practices to daily activities, ancestral reverence, and tribal symbolism. However, modernity has created a disconnect between the present and this rich past.
Modernity, it has really changed the way people react here as towards the artifact itself or the culture itself. There's a bit of disconnect, largely due to religious affiliations. So for the Christians, they have their own God, which is largely different from the Nok God itself. So because the society is largely modernized, you have Christians, you have Muslims. So the emphasis on the traditional religion is not very well pronounced.
The Nok culture is recognized globally. That's why it is believed that preserving and documenting it is not just important, it is essential for future generations.
That we're trying to promote the culture, this artifact, that we are preserving them for the incoming generation. Because had it meant that our parents knows the value of this artifact since before now, then we'll have gone far before.
Centuries after the time of their ancestors, the Ham people and Ham land remain peaceful and resilient, continuing to thrive despite the challenges of the present day. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
The University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital has resumed kidney transplant operations after 15 years. At a press briefing, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Ahmed Ahijo, attributed the suspension of the procedure to Boko Haram insurgency and the September floods in Maiduguri, which damaged most equipments. Professor Ahijo revealed that the revived 85-bed capacity kidney center will address the alarming 23% prevalence of kidney-related diseases in the country and halt medical tourism. He appreciated the federal government for subsidizing dialysis charges and solicited for support from partners and influential individuals as it embarks on the diagnosis of 20 patients.
If you recall, I mentioned to you the drugs are very, very important in sustaining any kidney transplant. It's so important that a surgeon can do an excellent job. But if that maintenance drugs for immunosuppression is not there, immune boosters are not there, proper right medication are not there, there will always be a challenge. That's why in this particular case, we said the donors should help us buy the drugs for the patients.
Alhamdulillah.
I thank God for a successful kidney transplant. My relative generously donated the kidney to me, and I'm forever grateful. Before the surgery, life was very difficult. I struggled to even walk, but now I feel so much better. I didn't have to pay for the treatment, and I'm truly thankful for the support I received. May God richly reward everyone who made this possible.
Adamawa State Government has approved over 919 million naira for the extension of the House of Assembly complex in Eola. This project, which was originally contracted in 2007, has been revived by Governor Ahmad Umaru Fintiri's administration. The report.
Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Ilya James, who announced the approval after the State Executive Council meeting, also revealed that 369 million naira has been allocated for renovating the main entrance gate to the government house. James urged residents in flood-prone areas to relocate for their safety ahead of the rainy season. The Commissioner for Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Perambe, highlighted ongoing renovations in line with Governor Fintiri's urban renewal agenda.
The Council has approved the sum of 911,293 naira 88 kobo for the award of contract for the extension of the House of Assembly complex office. The Council has equally approved the sum of 369,385,058 naira 46 kobo for the award of contract for the renovation, remodeling, and automation of the main entrance gate of the government house, the Gure.
The Commissioner for Rural Infrastructure, Titus Solomon, also shared updates on the NYSC Labondo Borong Road project, stating that a committee has been formed to assess the project and consider a contract revision due to the current economic realities. Gibson Soadgo, Trust TV News, Yola.
A suspected vandal has been arrested for allegedly removing iron rods from the pedestrian slabs around the newly constructed Ebu Bridge along the Ughelli-Asaba Road. The Delta State Commissioner for Environment, Jamani Ejiro, apprehended the suspect while vandalizing and removing the iron rods from the pedestrian slabs. Preliminary investigation identified the suspect as Emmanuel Sunday, a native of Ikorekpene local government area in Akwa Ibom State. He is a carpenter engaged as a contract staff by the construction company. During questioning, he confessed to the act of vandalism. The commissioner has handed him over to the police for further investigation and prosecution. You're still watching Trust News Hour on Trust TV. We will return shortly after this break.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Well, to business now, the Naira held steady against the US dollar at the parallel market on Wednesday, June 11th, underscoring continued volatility in Nigeria's foreign exchange landscape. Currency traders in Abuja said the Naira exchanged at 1,605 Naira to the dollar for buying and 1,615 Naira to the dollar for selling, representing a slight change from Tuesday's closing rates. Similarly, at the official exchange window, the local currency recorded a modest appreciation, closing at 1,566 Naira to a dollar on Wednesday, compared to 1,583 Naira to a dollar the last Wednesday, according to historical trading data. The persistent disparity between official and parallel market rates continues to reflect underlying pressures in Nigeria's forex market, driven by dollar scarcity and speculative trading. To other stories from across the World Bank has retained Nigeria's annual growth at 3.6% for 2025, despite heightened trade tension and uncertainty that has dragged the global economy's GDP to its worst levels in decades. The Washington-based lender sees Africa's most populous nation's GDP improving by 0.2% this year, up from 3.4% recorded in 2024, with the services sector being the major growth driver. Nigeria saw its fastest growth in at least a decade last year, primarily driven by financial and telecommunication services, a recovery in the transportation sector, and a slight rebound in oil production. That momentum is expected to continue this year amid low global headwinds and escalating trade tension that cut world's growth from 2.7% to 2.3%. Nigeria's macroeconomic indicators have been mildly affected by the trade face-offs triggered by President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs that have shocked economies and shifted dynamics of the global markets. While Africa's biggest oil producer suffered a decline in oil prices that saw the Naira fall slightly in the past month, the local currency is gaining and so is inflation easing, thanks to reforms that have put the country in a better position to weather the global shocks. From Nigeria, a convoy carrying hundreds of activists has arrived in Libya after driving from Algeria and crossing through Tunisia on its way to the Gaza Strip to challenge Israel's blockade on humanitarian aid on the territory. The convoy is made up of at least 1,500 people, including activists and supporters from Algeria and Tunisia, with more expected to join from Libya. The group arrived in Zawiya city in Libya Tuesday and plans to reach Gaza via Egypt's Rafah crossing, traveling by cars and buses. It drove through the Libyan cities of Tripoli, Misrata, Sirte, and Benghazi to reach the Saloum crossing, which borders Egypt. It is expected to soon reach Cairo before heading to the Rafah crossing. Jamila Sharita, an Algerian participant, on Tuesday said authorities in Tunisia and Libya have been cooperative with the convoy, helping facilitate their smooth journey. Togo's President Faure Gnassingbe is facing growing pressure following a government clampdown on protests calling for his resignation over recent changes in the constitution that could effectively keep him in power indefinitely. Activists on Tuesday condemned the arrest and alleged maltreatment of dozens of people following staged protests late last week in Togo's capital, Lomé, and on social media. The Togolese leader, who has ruled since 2005 after the death of his father, was sworn in as president of the Council of Ministers in May. The powerful role has no official term limits and is eligible to be re-elected by Parliament indefinitely. Opposition politicians have denounced the move as a constitutional coup. Around half of the 80 protesters who were arrested were released late Monday. However, at least 25 remain in custody, a local rights group said, urging authorities to release the others. Peter for the latest in sports.
The Nigerian Rugby Football Federation (NRFF) has officially announced the Stallions 7 squad set to represent the nation at the 2025 Rugby Africans Men's 7 tournament taking place on 21st and 22nd June at the Labourdonnais Sport Club in Mauritius. Nigeria will compete with 11 of Africa's top Rugby 7 nations, including South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Madagascar, Tunisia, Zambia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and host nation Mauritius. The winner of the tournament will earn a coveted spot in the 2025 World Rugby Sevens Challenge Series. Drawn in Pool B, Nigeria will face South Africa, Burkina Faso, and Zambia in group stage matches on Saturday, June 21st. The fixtures are as follows: 7:06 a.m. Nigeria vs South Africa, 9:28 a.m. Nigeria vs Burkina Faso, 12:12 p.m. Nigeria vs Zambia. Coach Steve Lewis expressed confidence in the squad's readiness following an intense 2-month build-up which included appearances at the Abeokuta Sevens, London Floodlit Sevens, Summer Socials, and Manos 7 tournaments. The squad is made of experience and emerging talent, with stalwarts like Frederick Henry Ajudua and Ogene Suve-Obano bringing physicality and presence, while Captain Kito Oliver provides leadership and composure. Final preparation will be held at the pre-tournament training camp in London before the team heads to Mauritius. 2025 Stallions 7 squad are Issa Omale, Matthew Ilube, Kolade Adedoyin, Gabriel John Etim, Joshua Adams, Kito Oliver, Captain, Twayo Anthony Egodo, Ogene Suve-Obano, Frederick Henry Ajudua, Richard Adeniyi Jones, Declan Nwachukwu, Akeem Yusuf. Reserves: Matthew Ogunwole, John Toby Anthony. The NRFF has expressed gratitude to the National Sport Commission, partners, and supporters for their continued backing as the team strives to elevate Nigerian rugby on both the continental and global stage. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And that Sports News concludes our Wednesday's news edition of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us on our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. Thank you for being there. Thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. Good night.